Some wounds of the heart, no matter how much time erodes them, remain as fresh as the day they were inflicted. Some tears, held back for decades, only find release when everything else has faded. And some stories, buried in silence for 20 long years, simply wait for a rain-soaked night to finally be told. Old Mr. Hayes lived alone in a dilapidated house at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac. His face was etched with hardship, his white hair disheveled, and his eyes always seemed to gaze into the distance, as if searching for something long lost. Locals whispered that Mr. Hayes was an extraordinarily cold man. He spoke to no one, nor did he ever smile. Even when neighborhood children accidentally kicked their soccer ball near his door, he would silently pick it up, place it on his porch, and turn his back without a word of reproach or greeting. Mr. Hayes's solitude wasn't imposed by others. It was a wall he had built himself, tall and unyielding. Every night, as darkness fell and the rain began its gentle patter, a faint light would appear in Mr. Hayes's house. A familiar, melancholic, and poignant melody would drift out from an old music box. It was the only sound Mr. Hayes ever allowed to escape his private world. People said he had lived this way for 20 years, ever since that fateful night no one in the village dared to mention. 20 years ago, Mr. Hayes was a different man. He was a warm, loving husband to his kind wife, Sarah, and a doting father to his adorable little daughter, Lily. Lily was his entire world. She loved listening to him tell fairy tales, and most of all, cherished the music box he had found at an old antique market. Whenever Lily was sad or getting ready for bed, Mr. Hayes would wind its mechanism and the familiar tune would play, soothing her young soul. But life, as it often does, had a cruel twist. One stormy night, an ancient oak tree collapsed onto Mr. Hayes's old house. In a desperate attempt to save his daughter, Mr. Hayes managed to push Lily out of harm's way. Lily survived, but his beloved wife, Sarah, was not so fortunate. And Lily, his precious little girl, also sustained serious injuries. After the accident, Lily endured both physical pain and intense trauma. She looked at Mr. Hayes with eyes filled with blame, eyes he could never forget. "Why didn't you save Mom? Why did you only save me?" Those words, spoken by a child in shock, pierced his heart like daggers. Mr. Hayes couldn't forgive himself for failing to protect both women he loved most. He retreated into himself, becoming the cold and solitary man everyone knew. Lily was later sent to live with her aunt in another city, leaving Mr. Hayes alone with his haunting memories and the music box. Another rain-soaked afternoon, a young woman pulled her car up to Mr. Hayes's house. She had eyes that eerily resembled Lily's from long ago, but her gaze no longer held blame, only concern. She was a local reporter, there to interview residents about the historical homes in the cul-de-sac. But upon seeing Mr. Hayes, she felt a strange, inexplicable pull. The young woman approached, hesitantly, knocking on the door. Mr. Hayes, as usual, didn't answer, yet she persisted, gently placing an umbrella on his porch before turning to leave. As she prepared to drive away, Mr. Hayes unexpectedly opened his door. She turned back, their eyes meeting. In that moment, the young woman recognized something profoundly familiar. Gathering her courage, she asked, "Are you Mr. Hayes? The silent Mr. Hayes?" He nodded faintly. The young woman smiled, a warm smile like sunshine after a storm. "Sir, do you remember this music box?" She slowly retrieved another, smaller music box from her bag, one that played the exact same melody. It was the music box Lily had taken with her when she left 20 years ago. Mr. Hayes was stunned. His usually emotionless eyes flickered. "Lily, my Lily," he stammered. The young woman nodded, tears beginning to stream down her face. "It's me, Dad. I'm Lily." Close-up of a tear rolling down Lily's cheek. Transition to the old man, his eyes wide, the music box in his hands trembling. In that instant, the wall of solitude Mr. Hayes had built for 2 decades crumbled. Lily's words from long ago weren't born of hatred, but of a child's profound grief and confusion. And now, the sight of his daughter's forgiving and loving eyes tore through the darkness that had consumed his heart. Mr. Hayes clutched the music box tightly, then slowly rose and walked to embrace Lily. He said nothing, only let out a guttural sob that had been trapped within him for 20 years. The cry of a man who had suppressed a lifetime of pain and regret. It wasn't a cry of sorrow, but of release, of rediscovered love, of wounds finally healed. The rain still fell, but it no longer felt cold. In the quiet cul-de-sac, father and daughter held each other, and the melody from the old music box played on, no longer melancholic, but a tender anthem of reunion and everlasting love.